So welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. My name's Mark McNulty, president of Action Coach Bluegrass. Today I have Greg Trim, who is president and CEO of Thermex-Thermatron Systems, as my guest. Today we're going to be talking about his journey and the business's journey over the years and challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to run a business. Now, if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe so that you get notifications when we drop new conversations just like this one. So Greg, welcome and thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, appreciate it. So Greg, go ahead and tell us a little bit about Thermex-Thermatron and your background and how you got there and kind of the current situation there.
Sure. So Thermex-Thermatron, so what we do here is we design and manufacture industrial radio frequency or RF and microwave systems for a myriad of different manufacturers who support different industries such as aerospace, automotive, advanced textiles, composites, medical. So quite a few different industries. So we're kind of supplying to either the integrators or the manufacturers. So I came to the company in September of 22 as a planned succession plan for our previous CEO. I started in as COO with engineering and manufacturing under my purview, and then actually we accelerated the timeline, and I assumed the role of CEO in July of 23.
Great. So what led you there? Tell us a little about your career before that. That you kind of grew up through the ranks in the engineering and manufacturing world.
Sure. I've been blessed to have kind of a unique opportunity in various industries throughout my career. Started really in design in aftermarket, both audio and video, and really 9/11 kind of changed things there and moved towards professional audio amplifier design at Crown Audio. Was really there for 10 years and started as kind of design engineer, project engineer, then program manager, integrating some products into contract manufacture in China. Made kind of a lateral move to Parker Hannifin as engineering manager for a sensor design group, supplying to a lot of different industries. Construction, ag, forestry, mining, that sort of thing. And then was tapped, actually they closed that facility, but was tapped for a role in hydraulics or fluid power and controls, command fluid power. That turned into another role as a director of engineering at Scott Industrial Systems, similar with hydraulic fluid power and industrial controls and some automation. And that's when I was recruited for this role. So yeah, definitely got to see quite a bit, both on the high volume side, low volume side, high level of sophistication, and then, job shop type environments as well. So I've been blessed in that respect.
Oh, that's great. So tell us a little bit about, so Thermex-Thermatron's been around for a long time from its origination back what, in the 30s in Louisville?
Yeah, started in 1939. And I think there've been a few different facilities, and certainly a lot of different faces over the years. So we have 80 plus years in RF and microwave design experience. So very very noteworthy and admirable, for the company to be surviving this long. I think it's kind of a niche industry. That's something that we're looking at, making some modifications there to address going forward as well. But yeah, it's steeped in history for sure.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about, the leadership structure of the business. How are you structured? What's your leadership team look like?
Yeah, so we are owned by a capital investment company in Alabama. Great group of guys, actually brilliant group of guys who are very involved in the business and certainly rooting for our success. I'm president and CEO. We have 32 employees here at our site in J-Town. It's a 50,000 square foot facility. We're fully integrated as far as anything, from raw material, the sheet metal that comes in, all the way through, manufacturing the electrical control panels. So, yeah, quite a small crew for some of the, professional products that we're putting out.
Mm-hmm. So tell our listeners a little bit more about, who are the primary industries you're serving, and why do they come to you instead of your competitors?
Sure. So, aerospace, automotive, composites, uh, medical, I'd say, probably our top three industries would be medical, um, as well as advanced textiles and automotive. And so, as I mentioned, we're supplying the manufacturers for certain things, and on the automotive side, that might look like, the end product might be an automotive carpet that has a heel and toe pad that is RF welded into it. Some of the labels that you would see in some of like the headrests, or the with the sun visor, on the back of it, that type of thing would be RF welded. And Really on the medical side, I think it's really any of the medical bags that you would see, like an IV bag or a blood pressure cuff. The seal on the outside, that's actually an RF weld. And so for that type of process, that type of weld, we're actually, given that we're generating electromagnetic energy, we're doing this at the molecule level. We're exciting the molecule, so it's going to be a stronger bond for the plastic than any type of adhesive, that type of thing. Um, there's some medical packaging along with that as well. On the advanced textiles, that might look like large tents and canopies, the seams there, and also like inflatable domes. You've seen like some of the football practice facilities. Some of those large canopies would be, a lot of the seams would be RF welded due to the strength provided in that. Why customers would look to us, obviously 80 plus years in RF and microwave experience, but then also just our group of our engineering group. We do custom design for many applications. We also have in our manufacturing facility what we call thermal lab, where we have certain pieces of equipment on standby to bring customers in and help facilitate, if they have testing, or if they have certain materials they don't know how well they're going to weld or heat. We can bring them in with our equipment here and perform testing with their specific material, and really talk through a design solution for them.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. So let's talk a little bit about kind of your journey into the business and into the leadership team, what that's been like. So so you came into an long established company to be, a successor. And so what was it like coming into a new culture for you and having to adapt and then, taking over when the CEO retired and kind of make it your team? What was that experience like?
It's it's uh it's really one of the most challenging aspects, really, and I've done it a few times, but it never really gets easier. To come into a company where no one knows you. You may have a great resume, a great history, work experience, that type of thing, but to establish credibility, and really look at things differently. And so, my predecessor had 16 years here and had taken the business quite a ways from where it was. But really, in taking a look at things is, I look at a company like Thermex, and I think really a lot of companies across the country where they're maybe a smaller company, and I think what you find is, and I would call this in its previous form, kind of an artisan shop, where you have very tenured, skilled folks who day to day, they know the products inside and out. They know how it was designed. They know how it should test, and really and very engaged with the products and that sort of thing. And as those folks move towards retirement, and as with that level of knowledge, very little documentation was required because they knew the products inside and out. And so, As those folks move towards retirement, you're looking to recruit maybe potentially a younger workforce who doesn't have that knowledge and skill set. And so therefore documentation becomes extremely important. And so that's one of the first things, coming in. Obviously, culture changes a part of it as well. We want a very positive environment, servant leadership, that type of thing. But, providing structure and guidance, process and documentation is key to everyone's success. So, I mean, those are really just kind of the fundamentals that you start building when you come into a situation like this.
So how would you describe your leadership style?
Definitely servant leadership, as a facilitator, a mentor, where you're going to come in and provide that structure and guidance, and clearly define expectations, and constantly analyzing work content where it should reside. Some folks over the years take on and wear many hats, and when those individuals potentially leave a business, without roles clearly defined, it can create a significant impact on the business. So, clear expectations, clearly defined roles, but then also process as well and documentation.
Okay. So as you look back at kind of your career advancement into the upper management and executive management levels, what are some challenges you had to overcome or lessons you had to learn that shaped who you are as an executive?
That's interesting. Yeah, I think with this particular role, I think in general, my previous CEO had a certain leadership style, and mine is very different from that. And so, taking a look at the culture and the individuals, and then trying to get everyone to work together towards a common goal, such as, we had discussed previously that we just implemented a new ERP system, and really digging into process. I think the challenge is really, I think, to get some folks to realize that they're capable of more than what they understand that they're capable of. And that, over many years, I think, sometimes folks get dialed into doing things a certain way, and that's kind of status quo, and you're asking for a higher performance level. We want to grow, that type of thing. And so it can be certainly challenging. Over the years, you kind of learn different techniques as far as, how to reach certain individuals, and how to coach and mentor them, and how to better understand their learning, and how they go about really processing and dealing with the work that they have to do. So,
okay. So you mentioned common goals. So what are some things you do with your team to kind of set and get buy-in? Because that's one of the big challenges with teams is getting buy-in to those, the goals that come from the top down, but that you're trying to really get the whole team to buy in. So what are some things you do to get that buy-in so that they truly are commonly held goals?
I think the first thing is defining the goals. I think maybe that was an issue in the past. But then also kind of explaining, and walking through process. I think many individuals don't particularly understand what their part in the overall process, how it affects the other parts. What inputs do they need from the prior process, and what outputs do they need to provide? And so, providing that perspective, walking through the team, walking them through the entire process, and where we need to either take a look at quality, or where our additional documentation is required, or just even how can we optimize our overall process. And so we're taking a look at a lot of these things right now. And so obviously, just over a year into the CEO role, there are a lot of irons that we have in the fire right now with just continuous improvement.
Right. So, so tell me about your leadership team. How are you developing leaders underneath you in the company?
I like strategy sessions, where we kind of define, growth strategy and really kind of take a look at what does that look like, and in our day-to-day operations, and how do we translate these, financial goals into strategic goals for, whether it be engineering or, certain manufacturing operations, whether it's, on the parts side or on the machine side or on the service side. We're taking a look at obviously our revenue streams, but our value streams internally. How do we provide value within each operation? And if we're not, does it need to be a part of the operation? So,
Okay. So last question here before I go into my real last questions. So what's been the biggest influence on you? Either maybe it's a mentor you worked with or had, on just your growth as a leader over your career.
I've been privileged to have some very very high power and very profound leaders, I think, to mentor me throughout my career. Certainly, our former CEO, but I would say even our board of directors now. And, there's been a couple VPs and presidents and CEOs along the way who have really kind of help shape and form some of my thoughts, especially as it relates to servant leadership, and having humility about what I do, and really getting to know people, and for anyone who is a follower of Christ, the mission within the mission, really, as it relates to being a leader in general. So,
okay, wonderful. So this has been really good. We covered a lot of ground here, and in just a few short minutes, and I appreciate that. So I've got just a few wrap-up questions here. First thought, probably the first thought off the top of your head is going to be the best answer. So first one, so what's the key to success for you?
never giving up,
Okay.
and just, continuous iteration, and just continuous brainstorming, and approaching problems from multiple angles.
So what's one piece of advice you would give to other business leaders?
Obviously, know your business, know your customers, but also know the folks, who are really doing the work for you, and provide that leadership that they need, certainly on the servant level.
Okay. So what's a book you're reading or listening to now, if you're an audiobook guy, or have read most recently that's had an impact on you that you would recommend to other business owners?
Well, it's not a business book, but in addition to scripture, I'm a big Ted Decker fan. It's fiction, but his Circle series is amazing.
Okay, awesome. And then last question here. So if you had to choose one area of your business that you could immediately improve tomorrow, what would it be?
Process. Yep. Process and documentation, certainly. And I would say really, just because of some turnover we've had just on the accounting side, but also in manufacturing as well. So.
Okay. All right. So now for my very last question. So what inspires you the most right now?
Well, as I mentioned, the mission within the mission. I think, the human spirit is never ceases to amaze me. And just, when you learn people's backgrounds and where they come from and some of the things they've been through, and, just that never giving up, and always wanting to reach that next level. So yeah, I think it's, I don't know, the team never ceases to amaze me and inspire me, really, with, not having some tools in place, but really caring about the products and caring about, the success of the business and everyone, on the team. Certainly you can bring people together for a common goal.
Okay. I like that. I like that. So this has been great, Greg. Really appreciate it. So this has been Greg Trim. He's president and CEO of Thermex-Thermatron Systems. and he's shared a lot of his thoughts today, a lot of tips on leadership, servant leadership, and stepping into a new role in a new company and culture, and some of the things he's done to bring the company together, take and be the leader that the company needs, and to help them grow and help the team grow. So make sure to bookmark this and subscribe so you can watch this a couple times, and also get notifications when we drop new interviews like this one. So Greg, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Very much appreciated.
All right, so this has been the Business Spotlight series, and we thank you for watching us, and look for our next interview to drop soon. Thanks. Bye for now.